You have
Just
one.
turn the page here, sorry. So we had one item before us, and I do need to point out a couple typos, which you guys are fantastic proofreaders. Again, we misspelled Mr. Sully's name, and there's conforming, second to last line, confirmation, I didn't catch confirmation. And also, there's a motion and a second that it was unanimously passed. So what I'm proposing the board to approve, which the planning commission unanimously approved, was a land separation, CSM request at North 8356 Weber Lane in East Troy, parcel number PET 2300005, section 23. In essence, the owner wishes to divide his property into two portions. And first of all, the sizes required for that allocation are conforming to requirements. There's an issue of access on Weber Lane, which has been addressed in the proposal. And and the appropriate setbacks have all been met. So with that presentation, there were while the owner and his son were there, no one spoke in favor, nobody spoke against. And after robust questioning, motion was made and seconded to approve. So I'm making the motion to approve this creation of two lots based on the CSM request land separation prepared by Mike Reeson from V2G.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Discussion, the only thing I'll add is, near the bottom it says Weber Road, Weber is 1B. I guess just to have the record correct on that.
And there we're calling it Weber Road, and in the top it's called Weber Lane.
It's Weber. No, official chart here.
Is it Langley?
Weber Lane.
Oh.
Weber Lane. Jeanette was through a lot of research too. Okay, any other questions on this before we vote? Hearing none, on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries to approve that CSM. Right, thank you. All right, public comments period number.
Chairman, can I have a comeback?
Yes.
I forgot. Earlier this month, the local Masons donated to the police department a fire safety tool, and long and short what it is, it looks like an AED, it's slightly heavier and oversized. You pull the pin on it, and if you have a room and contents fire, you could throw this device through the window, and it emits chemicals that are not harmful to human beings. So if there was somebody in the room, it's a fire suppression tool that extinguishes the fire without taking the oxygen out of the room. It's basically a life safety device, and the Masons donated that to the police department. I wanted to make the board aware of that in a public forum. So I forgot earlier during my report, and wanted to make sure I got up and let you guys know.
Thank you. Thank you. To the Masons.
Okay, I'm gonna read one public comment first. Ken just did send an email to the board in regard to the snow plowing we just discussed previously here. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it does talk about ability and responsibility of the town. I'll read the conclusion, and then, this should be part of the record of the meeting. Conclusion says, I have come to the realization that unless three members of this board can conclude that the town of East Troy discontinues snow plowing on private and allow private contractors to contract in the service, that my efforts will be for nothing, and that's okay. However, I will monitor your actions, and I, along with hopefully others, will notice how the board proceeds and vote accordingly. Thanks, Ken Best. So that being the record, and then also, Terry Mills has a copy of this to look at when he does his research also.
Would it be possible for us to get a copy of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna just make a note to myself to put it from my file. January 7th, 23.
Forward that, yeah,
7/29.
if you could just forward that.
Want me to do it right
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all comments? Yeah.
You wanna go first, Bob? Go ahead.
I've got a question for the board. You guys have a packet that shows all the public and private roads. Could you guys look at your packet and see how Shorewood Drive is noted in there? For the record?
For the record, Shorewood Drive. Subdivision recorded on 8/31/1925. Plat denotes private,
So it's a private road.
private road.
Okay, excellent. And then as far as the snow plowing and stuff, that was my belief too, is that our road is private. We've got 52 homes on that road that rely on the services for police and fire. I know that 3 times the rescue squad was at a neighbor's house of mine last month. If we were forced to do private contracting, the town has always plowed it, it's always been consistently done, it's reliable. We do not get that same reliability with a private contractor, nor would we get buy-in from all 52 people. There's a lot of seasonal residents on that road, people who go to Florida or south for the winter time. It'd be very difficult to guarantee consistency of the quality of our road. Thank you.
Do they object to paying the $35 if they're in Florida?
No one's objected, not to the best of my knowledge. I think there's 2 people who have questioned the quality of the service, but everyone is super happy with the way it's been plowed and how it's been done. No one's ever been late for work, no one's ever, complained about it to me, except they want it closer to mailboxes, they want it further away, just nitpicky stuff. So they've done a really good job, we thank them for that.
And there's no hope that we would get all 52 people to sign a contract to.
Correct, and and we've got 52 people on our road, who's gonna sign the contract? One person's gonna have to be responsible for the whole payment. It's been done through the tax rolls, it's worked out very well. We're willing to pay for those services, we're not asking for something for nothing. One way you guys may consider doing it is keep track of how many events there are in 22 and 23. And then on the 23 taxes, say there were 20 events or 30 events, whatever it is, take that $1.77 times the 30 events from the prior year, and then roll up the tax. So you're always moving forward, not necessarily doing a 5-year look back. So that's it.
Good suggestion, thank you.
Done?
Couple of questions before, if I may. You guys are familiar with the survey that was done for the town. It was done on 7/28/19 by E2G. You're familiar with that survey?
There.
The main one, the one that covers East Shore Road?
Actually,
Yep.
I handed it.
Okay, is there 2 of those surveys, or is it just one?
Should be just one, right? One, and I forward that to Walworth County.
Okay, well, I have a copy of it here, all 3 areas. Is there a reason why the right-of-way isn't depicted off the edge of the road or the center line with a dimension? It's depicted the total width of the right-of-way, but it's not depicted off the edge of the road or off the center of the road. So it's hard to determine where the actual right-of-way is. There's a line there, but there's no numbers.
It's 49.5 feet wide.
Oh, yeah, I got it here,
People each have to run.
Constantly changing.
but you can't go out there.
Oh, I mean, for the road with the pavement?
It's not painted on the center, so.
Pavement is never in the center.
Right, but what I'm getting is the edge of the road doesn't change unless you repave it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're at the edge of the road where the asphalt stops and the road or the gravel or whatever starts, if you're there and you wanna know where the right of way ends, going into private property, it's not clearly laid out. If you look on the survey here, it's not clearly laid out, it gives you the total width,
Mhm.
but it doesn't give you the dimensions off the right of
Because the
way of the road.
the edge of the road's always changing. It's not running parallel to that. So like, where do you want to mark?
Wherever you take your dimension or measurement from, that's where you mark it. So maybe if you got the whole stretch there, mark it 3 or 4 spots, and if it's off 6 inches or 3 inches either way, if you have to go out there and reference something, you know exactly where you're referencing
Well,
from.
it's a style thing, it's not something you commonly do.
Okay, but if you're somebody that wants to know where the right of way ends and private property begins, it's hard to, I mean, it's a beautiful survey, but it doesn't give you everything to clearly depict where the lines are. Now, if you had a total station, you get all numbers punched in your computer, you can run out there, put your thing down, hit it, you know exactly where it is.
How am I supposed to know who wants to see that, where am I supposed to mark that?
Well,
There's 1,000 of those spots, more than 1,000.
correct, but this was a high profile area here that was done, not that long ago, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, with the new construction of this hotel there, we need to clarify what's what and where's where, because it's not very clear. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, here's what I think we're gonna do, and we did discuss this previously, is the actual, again, this was based on an actual survey. And this is a resurvey of it, so the actual centerline points, we thought, okay, it's not gonna stay, we could go ahead and put PK in there.
Those are marked.
Those are marked, okay, so
They
name
might
points,
see
the
that.
same order of the mark.
Is there a dimension on your map that shows, it just shows the total with it, but like if you want to know the center.
It's half each way. The center line is the center line at 49.5 feet,
Okay,
okay?
so you have to measure out the center line which moves, so it.
No. You have to explain that for again.
So basically, not the center of the pavement, but the center of the right of way. Two different things, right? The center of the pavement doesn't follow the center of the right of way. The center of the right of way is marked. So the road's not centered in the right of way.
I get it.
Right? That's where the confusion, I think, is
And the angle points at the center line are marked.
of the right of way.
Well, if you look at that survey, and you wanna go out there and find out, or just look at it and determine where the private property starts going towards the lake, that's rather difficult to figure out off that survey. That's all I'm saying, I'm just asking if there's a clarification, or if you had another set of surveys
You can scale it.
that showed it. That's all.
You can scale it.
Okay. Actually, your time is up, you wanna go to the second 3 minutes later?
No, I'll wait till later.
All right, phone comments? Jones? Jojo?
Happy New Year. You get an address? Just something I wanna bring up from, September. I kinda appeared in September and asked for a budget versus actuals. And we should be able to do that on a monthly basis, because you gotta be closing books every month, but even if
I
it's.
got the bank statements at 2:00 today.
Yeah, I understand, but they never show up. That's what happened in September. And I guess what I do when I don't have a bank statement, I go online and I pull my statement. So it would be really nice to see the cash flow of how the town works, that's all. So far I can do that. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, public comments? Okay, unfinished business. All right, now, emergency response plan. Now, everybody had a month to go through this. All right, I'm not sure we got input from everybody, but we need the chief's comments, we need Todd's comments, we need Ken's comments, we need the fire chief, again, the fire chief's comments to roll in. But I did go through, all of the comments that, Mr. Mills did. And, pretty much agree with all of them, and including the ones where it says, hey, we gotta make a determination here on some of these. So we are gonna eventually do another meeting on this one too, probably a special meeting, because all we're gonna be acting on then is just this plan. Now, again, how this started is, the request from the county, Becky had to go ahead and prepare one of these plans. So we got a little bit lucky, the town of Troy, just got that completing theirs. So I called them up, and said, hey, how'd you do yours? And they said, we got a copy of one from the town of Hudson, St. Clair County, and they took it and they basically edited that. So they gave us a Word document of that, and then we made some changes, we made a couple meetings with Chad, and we went through, we made our best shot, including leaving blanks when we didn't know what the answer was, okay? And we got to the point, said, okay, now we authorize certain roads, you looked at it, we've got comments on it, but we need comments from everybody else. We're gonna come to a completed document. I don't think, I mean, this is not something we rush, but this is also something that I think we should schedule if we have, I don't know, Chief and Todd, have you both looked at your portions of this?
I've done some,
You found some issues? Kim, you have any issues?
Yeah, there's some things that
Highlighted, okay, Barb?
I have
Who else?
full notes throughout the whole thing.
I
I
can
can
have,
have your,
I did pass it on to Chief DeGarmo, but have not heard back.
Okay, I believe he's the only one, is that?
Cigaro has not yet.
Yeah. So, I think, again, trying to get to the correct path here, to make this the easiest. I'd like to get another draft of this that incorporates our comments, but obviously, your comments are gonna be different than mine, different than yours, and probably different than yours, okay? Jim's already put his in writing, that's his comments. So you're the only one that's done until you say, Jim, what should we do here, okay? So I'm kind of looking for, what do you think here, as far as,
Time's up, Joe.
as far as, how we should proceed here, what's the idea right here, I mean,
I think this requires a meeting unto itself, working session.
It's gonna be required, obviously, I think it's required more than one meeting,
I agree.
but honestly, the shot that I gave at it was with the knowledge that I have on
Oh,
this
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
so.
No,
I
it
mean,
was a great start.
all comments and concerns are welcome, I think it's gonna take a couple, because this is way more than anything we've ever had. We've never
And I'm glad
had this, so.
Jim also got rid of some of these things that in no way in hell we'd ever considered.
Sure.
Yeah, those, just straight,
Right.
I appreciate those because somebody had to say it. You did, right?
Well, and there might be more after you guys meet.
Yes.
We say this just is not possible.
Or doesn't necessarily pertain to us.
Right.
All right. And again, I didn't have anything that was, let's call it earth shattering, other than I thought that when we, put this together, one of the questions we have to answer is whether you list names or position. You know, town chairman or supervisor, police chief or DPW. That, I don't know which is the proper way to do that,
I think you have to do position, and the names are gonna change.
Change all the time, even though it says this, you know, it should be something reviewed annually or.
yeah, if it says town supervisor, how do you know which one? Or, you know, some
Town
cases
East
it's all-
Troy supervisor,
Right,
and then maybe on your cover sheet, you list the current supervisor, town chairman, supervisor 1, supervisor 2, and list those names. And then when you review it annually, you update that list,
I
you know,
see
with
that,
a revised date.
yeah, eventually the county is gonna sign off on this, so they're gonna check it, okay? We all sign it, the whole board, and then the county emergency manager signs it. Then it becomes part of their county-wide document, so they all have, you know, everybody else's, okay? Which would be, 25 different ones, because you got city, villages, and towns, right? Yeah, on their own.
Everyone's gonna have their own, and they want it, what the county wants is a hard copy for a case of emergency, which is great, but nothing with emergency management. Nothing's happened there for 5 years, so this is kind of, another gentleman got in a position and kind of getting the ball rolling and making sure that we got everything. It's great, it's just,
Have you heard anything else from them, or anything yet? I haven't.
I have not gotten an email that comes with an email me, but, if I said it, when I can, because I was on the understanding of what we did, what I was doing before, and updating with what we were talking about, not realizing the scope of, you know, because we have no, like I said, there's nothing, we don't have anything like, really. This is all brand new.
Okay, so when we have that meeting, I would take it, we would have chief and the other chief, and Todd, give you your anyway, and us, and you, and we go through this line by line, and I guess agree on the answers, right? I mean, everything is marked up on all of our stuff, you got marked, you got, Dad's, I don't know what you got, Bill, I'm sure you got scribbled on quite a few things on this.
Yes, and I've got a little bit of background in this from my days with the city of Franklin. This is actually a good first start. It's got many years of other people's good starts behind it. And I think one thing we're just gonna have to caution ourselves on is, these plans allow you to do what you can, and when you 3 guys in DPW, we got 2 or 3 police officers, a couple people manning phones, and something happened, a tornado, a plane crash, mass casualties. It's something that just takes us beyond normal operating affairs. We gotta know who's in charge, what are the duties and responsibilities that we can actually do. So often Jim was saying on his annotations was, who's gonna do this? Does this even matter here? So I think right now we need the feedback from Joe, we got Jim's, we need the fire chief, police chief, and we need, Todd's work. And I think it's gonna start, this will get smaller and we'll start owning duties and responsibilities. And I hope, before our year's end, that we actually exercise some of this stuff. Get more exercises in life.
And I would like any plan that we submit to have a large disclaimer on it that says, this is what we will do if we can do it. I don't wanna specify that this is the official town action that we're required to take. Because if we can't do something, I don't want anyone coming back and using this document and say, you were required to do it, this is your plan, you said you would do it.
Well, what about a disclaimer stating to the best of our abilities?
Oh, my God, this can be addressed when we, as a document.
You know what you can do. And just give a personal example, when I was managing communicable disease outbreak once, it started in my jurisdiction. But within hours, it was in 3 other jurisdictions, governing bodies, and 2 counties. So, as the incident commander in that instance, the next thing I do is like, well, when I kick it up 1 layer, where does it go? Well, it went to the region. Didn't go to the state yet. It got to the state, but it didn't go to the state yet. So you just get some comfort in duties and responsibilities, flow, knowing your community, knowing your resources, and doing what you can. And when you can't do it anymore, pass it off.
There's gonna be a lot of that, and that was my thoughts too, is, with the county being there as a resource for us, and, under circumstances, you're talking about some of these disasters. We're not set up for that, so a lot of those answers is who would do this, and like when I was reading through Jim's comments, a lot of them were going to be referring to county resources, a lot of it.
We'll be stressed to try and find volunteers to get trained to help us with these activities. Those are hard to come by. But, comfort in knowing your resources, having your telephone numbers, knowing who I call, it works. This does work. But we're at the front end here in this time.
So the answer is, we're gonna have to schedule a meeting for this Tuesday, maybe about 3 or 4, and wind up with that.
Is this something that if we can, make ourselves available, like if we can try to figure out a date during the day to make it a little more accommodating for.
Because I really,
I think it's gonna, the first meeting's gonna be long.
Well, I mean, mostly, we've got work responsibilities outside. You work from home, but you also have meetings sometimes, right? You teach sometimes, still part-time, right? Bill, I don't know how many meetings you got to count, not that many, right?
Very.
I got hard meetings a week. So, around that stuff, we would certainly fit in, meetings, and we'll take a special meeting. I just think we're gonna have to set one, and, once we know we have, fire chief, comments. When do you think you guys, honestly, done?
This week. Yeah, I'll have them done this week. I got most of mine done already.
Okay. You're done? You're done? So we could go ahead and schedule and see when our meetings are coming up here, so. Okay.
Does the county have a person we can go to walk through this with us from?
I don't know about like physically walking through, but Jason Rowland is one of, is who I've been in contact with or emailing through for this emergency management.
He's the county rep for this, but I can't see them sticking their neck out to formulate a plan for our town. Yes, they eventually have to sign off on it.
You'll be guys signing off on it, probably.
Right, but they had sent us, just before we had gotten this from the town of Troy, had sent us a mock-up, so to speak, of, as an example to get it started, which is a little less than what we have extent of sending somebody out to buy or not, I don't see why they would, but I don't know.
But, when we have that meeting set, it's gonna be, we get us together, me or you will send a email to that person, say, hey, we're meeting at this date and this time, you're available, here's what we're doing, please come, or let us know. I don't think they're gonna drive our plan, but they may have helpful comments if they've done this for other communities. So,
I don't believe so, not that I know of, I think everybody just kind of put theirs together, some communities that had this already in place, so it was here you go, and then go like smaller communities like ours and Troy Center, and I'm sure many others have not, so it's just.
I don't think the same community will.
Chief, you're familiar with.
Yeah, I did emergency management
Yeah,
for the sheriff's
and
office.
so we have a resource right there, and DeGaro, again, he's got resources, but the county should be part of our plan. And I think they want it.
Well, we'll invite them when we have that meeting.
Maybe, yeah.
And the more we do it in a regular part of the day, the more it's gonna show up. Okay, let's move on here. Next step, police garage project, I did share